So welcome back. I hope you enjoyed my very first episode. What I wanted to talk about today is something that's resonated with me a lot, and that's the healing journey and the entirety of the healing journey and how it can just so easily take over and become your whole journey. I also tell you ways that helped me jump out of it and actually just start doing life rather than just healing myself constantly. So I hope that you enjoy this episode, and if you get something out of it, that's great. If not, I hope that in future episodes you do get something out of it. So just listen up and hopefully you enjoy it. Let me rephrase that. So it's unbecoming the person that you were into becoming the person that you are. So those two, like, they don't mix straight away, basically. So you have to unlearn what you know and then relearn things that you need to know to become the best version of yourself. So when we're born and we're created and we're like our beautiful little selves and we're our little babies, and then we go up to toddlers, and then we develop our own personalities, and then school, and then life, and then relationships happen, and then bad things happen, and we're just shaped into just whatever comes out of that, basically. And then all of a sudden you realize you're like, I don't know, there's just got to be more. So then you start to heal from anything that you may have experienced, any traumas, any past life things that have rolling over to this one. To this one, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna heal. We're gonna do this. We're gonna start. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is a lot. Like, it's a lot. And then you just figure so many more things out about yourself. So for me, I put I've got my top 3 like astrological placements is like, I'm a Gemini sun, I'm a Taurus rising, and I'm a Scorpio moon. So I've just got like a lot going on. And my Gemini rising is just because it's mutable. She's a mutable sign. And I'm always open to trying new things and change and exciting and changes, and it isn't that scary for me. But my Taurus rising, because it's fixed, it's like, nah. Like, we're going to do this my way. And it's like bossy, and it's strict, and it's logical, and it's like, no, like, these are the reasons why we're going to stay the way we are. And Gemini's like, fuck, why? And then I have like a Scorpio moon, and she's just like on her own spicy journey, and I actually really love that part of her. I actually thought about it before, and like my top 3 is kind of like Powerpuff Girls. So you guys know the Powerpuff Girls? And so like Gemini, she's the Bubbles, and then Blossom is the Taurus, and then Buttercup is the Scorpio, and they hang out, they love each other, but then they just fight. So that's how I look at my top 3. And I kind of like that. I thought of that. That was fun. Anyway, so with that, I've had to navigate through the bossy part of myself, the Taurus, and it's just very, very set in its ways. And so unfortunately, I've had to work around that. And the Gemini in me goes, okay, well, let's just like learn. You know, you've now picked up this part of yourself, and you've now gone down a wormhole. There's all these other things that you need to relearn, and you need to redo, and you need to like adjust. Like, you know, thinking like this, like you used to, isn't going to get you here. And we're like, okay, well, let's just read books, and let's watch more podcasts, and then like let's listen to, you know, some more YouTube videos, and let's just keep doing that for a little while. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, you get the hang of it. But then you realize that without any action, you're really just gonna go in one big circle, which was what happened to me for like a couple of years. And all I wanted to do was just read because it was safer, because I love doing it as well. And I'd rather let's just discover more things about me. And which was the thing that stopped me from starting Imperium Goddess entirely and starting my own channel entirely. I remember my therapist, she told me, she goes, Louisa, you've done enough groundwork. Just do. There's nothing else there's nothing more that you can really learn without actually doing. Because if you really think about it, you could only learn so much with what you already know. And when you start to kind of go off into another tangent, another like part of your journey, there's all these other things to know, but you're going to grow in those other things as well. So you can't really know what you don't know. And a lot of the time reading the books, I couldn't understand a lot of what they were saying sometimes as time went on, and I grew and then I understood. But other times I was like, oh, like, yeah, okay. This said this, and I'm like, okay. And then sometimes I'll learn something and then I'll remember to that part of the book and I'm like, oh my God, like that's what this meant. So you can only really learn and read so much and watch so much until you experience it and then you really get it. I don't know if anyone else has that, but that, especially for me, that's how I felt my journey started to kind of roll and it started to progress a lot more farther. And with that, you kind of get to a place of like, well, you know, all of a sudden my little voice in my head was like, but are you sure? Are you sure you know what you're doing? And I'm like, fuck, do I? And then that's that cycle where you go back again. So, you know, you could dabble out and you're like, oh my God, I just got my feet a little bit wet. Like, I'm gonna go back. And like, okay, that was enough. That's enough for me. It's, you know, it's too stressful. And you're like, and then you just, yeah, and that cycle is just it's good, but it's just an annoying place to be. So this is just a couple of ways that I find myself, was actually just more few ways that I find that over the years worked for me. So if anything that you can take from this is maybe so that your journey to actioning more of your self-discovery in a broader way, maybe shorter. But then again, all our journey is we decide what we want to do with it. And so it takes as long as it takes. But if this video finds you at a time that you may need it or to break your cycle, then it was meant to find you. Either way. So one of the first things to realize is that you need to just like be honest with yourself. And sometimes that can be really, really ugly. And I found being honest with myself and that I was the problem wasn't just really, I was just not straight up not having a good time with acknowledging that, like just not okay with knowing that I was the problem. Okay, another ego thing. So when I took ownership of going, okay, Louisa, there is only so much therapy you're going to go to and talk about the same things. There's only so many books you're going to read. There's only so much Reiki you're going to have. Don't think that holistic practices are going to get you out of doing the work yourself. I learned that. I'm like, okay, no, these can all do it for me. No, you need to do it. And you need to be honest with yourself that you are the one that needs to do it, not anybody else. So it's literally sitting with yourself and going, okay, you're the problem. And then you just go, fuck, well, how are you going to fix it? And which leads me to my next step, acknowledging where that discomfort came from. So for me, it came from, I just thought I wasn't good enough yet. I knew I was going to be, but I wasn't good enough yet. And that yet was just like the little invisible barrier that I just created. And I wouldn't step past it because I've set all these benchmarks of what I thought I had to be and I hadn't hit them yet. So maybe I could hit a couple and I'm like, but all these other things that I haven't figured out yet. So no, we're just going to close the door again and you're just going to go back and go to school. And you're like, how else am I going to progress? So basically I looked at where I thought that I wasn't obviously good enough yet. And that didn't even really kind of stem from my childhood. That was just, I looked at it and that was just really me, you know, and that was maybe a lot of my ego thinking I wasn't obviously ready. And then there was also another part of me that goes, okay, well, you just like really need to be the best straight away. How annoying is that? That's probably the most annoying thing, is like you need to be the best straight away. For me, you know, I love dancing and I love pole dancing. I'm doing it for 7 years and I've been dancing for a while. And even like I love training as well. And even if I don't lift the heaviest in the class, or if I'm not executing things the best, or if I don't have the best split, I used to be like, oh, you need to get back and do some work because you're not the best. It's so unhealthy, and it's such a shitty way to look at yourself, because the progress is literally part of the fun and part of the journey to watch yourself grow. So it was, for me, I just wanted to get better and be the best, so that when I went in and I nailed it straight away, my confidence grew. So whatever that was, that's another thing that you need to acknowledge, is it's just all you. Another part of what really helped me was, it's literally a given, and it's the good old journaling and meditating. And I know just everybody says it, everybody talks about it. It's everywhere. Every spiritual manifestation teacher, guru will say these are great, and look, they are. I personally am a lot better at meditating than I am at journaling. I meditate every day, literally pretty much every day. When I skip it, I feel frazzled. Journaling, I'm a journaler when I do my new moon, full moon rituals, and I'm a journaler when I feel like I need to release something. So that's something for me. I need to probably journal a lot more. I feel as though, like, when you do, you can just start seeing the other part of you, which kind of leads me to my next thing, is envisioning the part of you that has already jumped the hurdle, the part of you that's the confident one, the one that you want to be. So with that, I feel as though you can do this obviously in meditation. Probably the best way that I've executed this is through meditation. Is I literally meditate and I envision the Louise that I want to be, the one that's confident and, like I said, has jumped the hurdle. And I literally sat there and I look at her. I'm like, okay, what does she look like? How does she behave? How does she act? What's her energy? What's her attitude? What's her? Like, what is her? What does she have that I don't? And what is she doing differently that I'm not? And I would sit there, and if you have a hard time visualizing in your meditation, maybe you can sense it. You like use more of your senses, because I know that some people struggle with visualizing a lot, and I'm easily visual, so that for me was pretty simple. And I would look at her, and she'd be me, but she'd be like, I'd tweak her a little bit, like, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'd just like Barbie her up, like, you know, create her the way that I wanted her, because it's the woman that I want to be. And I'd say, what are you doing? How did you get to this point? What did you do differently? And all I know is the first thing that came to my heart, and I would see her say it, and I'm like, okay, and that's your intuition talking. So sometimes it's going to be also, it's not going to make any sense. It's just, maybe it's going to be like a jumbled bit of words thrown together, and you're going to be like, what the fuck is this bitch saying? And you had no idea what they're talking about. And then something, you can walk away and you can be frustrated, or you can get a really clear answer. But a lot of the time, your higher self, they know exactly what they're doing all the time. They really just have it together. It's just, I love that for them. And so what I find that even when you step out of your meditation and you get on with your day, you might not find out maybe for a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days, maybe a week, and it'll click what your message and what you need to do. Maybe at the time that you did that meditation, maybe you didn't have the capability of receiving it because you were still blocking it, which was, again, that little voice, that little ego voice that goes, don't listen to her, listen to me. Who's had that? Who feels that they'll clash? Your ego and your higher self go, oh, we're going to have a conversation. You're just like, Mom, Dad, stop. So that's one of them. And I hope that people can, that can work for you, because that can actually be really powerful if you're successful with it. And if you keep at it, that can be a really good way of getting out of where you are and where you're stuck. The last thing that I found that I feel it's a very recent thing, and I've been looking at it for some time. And again, just didn't jump on it straight away because you have a lot of other healing things that you have to do. I found that EFT tapping. If you've heard of that, if you've done it, like, let me know. How's it been for you? How's it worked for you? Now, I've been doing it for about less than a week, and I've started a confidence challenge. I'm like, okay, well, this is what I need. this is the basis of the problem. And for me to progress and to literally start this channel that I've wanted to, it's taken me over a year to make my first episode. Like, that's how much my little voice said I wasn't ready. And so I found that it has very, very quick results for me. And I'm like, to be honest with you, I love watching manifestation coaches online, and I love their energy. I think that they're so positive and so inviting, and they really just like sell you a dream. And a lot of the time it does work, and some of the time realistically it just fucking doesn't. Like, it just doesn't. And so I don't want to be here doing this and giving you like all of these results. Oh my God, you're going to get these results if you do this. I'm saying for me, this method has worked quickly. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm probably document a lot of my experience with it and what I felt with it as time goes on. But I'm 3 days into the confidence challenge, and all of a sudden, like, for instance, I wanted to go back to like hip hop heels dancing, and I just kept saying no. And Monday I just got up and went, why did it take me so long to do that? Why was that so hard? It wasn't. It just everything in my head said, you just don't need to do that yet. Like, cause you know, it's gonna be too late. Like, you're gonna eat dinner too late, and you know, you're just gonna be a bit tired and you want to sleep. Like, fuck off. No, I want to do what I want to do. Don't tell me what to do anymore. And one specific one from this challenge, it was quieting the voice in your head. And so I feel as though it is a lot quieter at the moment. And I feel like I haven't heard too much of it since I've been making these videos. And I've only made 2 so far. And there's only been a couple of times when I've heard it say, are you really going to be good enough to do this? And it comes back in, and I'm like, I am. Can you just get back to your assigned seat and just sit there and let me do my thing? So those are the few things that I've found that have worked for me to jump out of the healing. Because like I said at the start, if you could literally read every book, you could listen to every podcast, you could do everything right, but you only know what you know. And so unless you start to experience a lot more in the realm of what you want to know, then you're only just going to know more. So that's what I have for you guys today. Obviously, I'll make more episodes as I think about them, but I really hope you enjoy that, and I hope that you got something out of it as well. So have a good day.